Okay, so we're going to talk about top 5 finish here, but Jordan Spieth was 2-1. His odds were 2-1 to win the tournament. So how often does he win the tournament?
It was 1/3
of the time.
1/3 of the time. That's what the odds makers think.
Yeah.
Okay, so what does that mean? How often do you think he's going to be in the top 5?
Well, pretty often.
Yeah.
More than a third or less than a third?
I think more than a third.
How come?
Because at a third, he'll win.
All right.
So less than a third wouldn't really make sense.
Okay. A third of the time he's going to win.
Yeah.
So he's going to be in the top 5.
More than
More
that.
than a third.
More than that, because if he's second, he's in the top 5.
Yeah.
And if he's third, he's in the top 5.
And
So these are interesting odds. I'm just looking here. It's 1 to 5 for Jordan Spieth to be in the top 5. 1 to 4 for Dustin Johnson to be in the top 5. 4 to 9 for Jason Day. And what does that say? 8 to 15? 8
Yeah.
to 15 for Brandon Grace to be in the top 5. So let's try to understand that. Because this looks backwards. Before it was 2 to 1.
yeah.
So what does 1 to 5 mean for odds?
Well, what if you pay 5? If you walk in with 5, then you'd win $6.
Right, you get 6.
Yeah.
He's 6.
Okay, so for a 5 bet, I'm going to say win means top 5 here.
Yeah.
Lose means not top 5.
Yeah.
Okay, so you win 6.
And then you lose then you get 0.
If you lose, you get 0, and you have to bet $5 each time.
Well,
Okay.
maybe you have to play 6 times to understand this one.
Right. Oh, sorry. Right. You have to bet. Okay. So you play 6 times. Okay. So how often does this say Jordan Spieth is going to be in the top 5 out of 6 times?
Well, it says
5 out of 6.
5 out of 6 times he's going to be in the
So
top 5. So how much money are you going to walk away with if you make this bet? If you make the bet 6 times?
Well, so 5 out of 6.
that means
5 out of 6 you win.
Yeah.
So that means you would make you would walk away with $30.
You'd walk away with $30. And you bet $5 6 times. So how much money did you bet?
30.
30. Interesting. So you walk in with 30.
You walk out with 30.
You walk out with 30. So this says Jordan Spieth is going to be in the top 5
5
out of 6 times.
Wow.
Wow, that's what the odds makers think. So what about, let's do a complicated one. Brandon Grace, 8 to 15.
That means you have to play this one
23 times.
times.
Whoa, weird. You have to play 23 times.
And then you have to bet $15 each time.
You have to bet $15 each time. And how much, when you hand over 15 and he's in the top 5, how much money do you get back?
You get back $23.
So when he's in the top 5, you get $23.
When
And
he's
when
not,
he's not in the top 5,
you get none.
you get none. So out of 23 times that you play, how often is he in the top 5? Do the odds makers think?
It's 15.
Okay, so how much money are you gonna walk away with in your 23 bets?
Well, you're going to walk away with, isn't it, $225?
Well, how much do you walk away with when he's in the top 5?
$23.
And how often is he in the top 5?
15 times.
So how much money is that?
It's 23 times 15.
Which is what we had.
23 times 15 is how much money you walk away with, and you're making 23 bets of $15 each time. So it works.
Yeah.
Okay. So what this says, and we'll look at some percentages in the calculator here. This says Jordan Spieth is going to be in the top 5 out of 6 times. Do you know what percent that is approximately? 5 out of 6?
Well, 1/6 as a percent.
It's around 1/5. 1/5 is 20%.
Right, 1/5 is 20%.
Actually, I think it's pretty close to. It's pretty close to 1/6. It's pretty close to. The 16 times 6 is 96.
Uh-huh.
So it's pretty close to that.
All right. So what percent is 1/6 pretty close to?
96%.
No. 1/6 is pretty close to Well,
Oh, it would be pretty close to this.
I think it's about 12.5 because 6 times 16, that's 24 times 4. So 8 of them goes to 96.
So what do you think 1/6 is approximately?
Around 12.5.
Around 12.5%? Okay, let's multiply both by 6. What do I get on this side?
Well, you got six. It's 136.
Oh, yeah.
No, I'm multiplying by 6. 1/6
it's
times
1.
6 is 1. Is approximately, what's 12 times 6?
Well, 72.
What's a half times 6?
It's 3.
It's
So
75.
it's not. No.
So 1/6 is not 12.5%.
I think it's closer to 20%. Then.
Okay. Let's multiply both of those by 6. 1/6 times 6 is?
It's at 1 again.
Okay, what's 20 times 6?
It's 120.
Okay.
So it's between 12.5 and 20.
Alright, so let's see if we can figure out what it is approximately.
Well, we could try 15.
15 times 6. Well, 15 times 5 is. Oh, 15 times 4 is 60. Then 15 times 5 is 75. 15 times 6. It's 9. 15 times 6. That would be 90. So it's
Okay.
pretty close.
Alright,
But it needs to be a little bigger.
yeah.
Well, if it were 16, like I said, it would be 96.
Right, that's what you said right away. It was about 16%. And I multiply that by 6, I get 96, so we're getting really close.
Yeah, so we could approximate it maybe about 17.
Okay, what's 17 times 6?
Well, it's 60 plus 42, that's 102.
Yeah, it's also
Which is-
96 plus 6,
Yeah.
which is 102.
It's closer than 96.
Okay, so it's 1/6 is between 16 and 17%.
Yeah.
Okay, so they said Jordan Spieth's going to be in the top 5 out of 6 times. So what is that approximately?
Well, 16, it's around 16 times 5.
Which.
Well, that's around 80%.
Six.
Well, it's between 80% and 17 times 5, which is 80. It's between 80% and 85%.
Okay,
I think it's closer to 85%.
why?
Because it was close. 100% was closer to 7. 1/6 was closer to 17 than 16.
Okay, interesting.